Good afternoon, and welcome to the Brick by Brick podcast with Ronald Pauleus. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long year, a lot of lessons, a lot of losses, a lot of mistakes. But I want to reflect today and just have some candid responses and thoughts, and not goal setting episode. It's coming in the new year. It's not a hype. It's just real. Now, it is hype though, because lessons you'll learn, I think, will really help in the 26th year. I've gotten to a place, I believe it was Aristotle or Socrates who said, the unexamined life is not worth living. And that's starting to hit me more as I get older, because I realize there are things to learn that you can only learn if you reflect on them. And you can grasp, you get a hold of life much better if you think more. And in our day and age, our society, it's real fast. Got a microwave society. Want things fast, want things as soon as possible. 30 seconds, 1 minute, boom, it's already and done. And I've learned as an entrepreneur, that's not the right mentality to have when you're building, because it's going to take longer than you think. And you got to be ready for that ride. So I want to share some lessons that I've reflected on, or I've thought through, what the years taught me. Because if you rush into what's next, you'll miss out on nuggets and wisdom you can grasp and get a hold of that will help you into what's to come and into what's next. So here's some things about growth and discipline, relationships, purpose, building brick by brick that I think is of value you should hear. Lesson 1, progress is quieter than I expected. Real growth doesn't announce itself. As I look back, I can tell I've grown tremendously as a person. But in the moment, it didn't feel like growth. In the moment, it didn't look like growth. In the moment, in fact, it was hard. It was difficult. It was not easy. I wanted to quit several times. But I kept going. I endured. I pushed forward, because it's not loud. And that's what you got to be okay with. Progress is quiet, moves much slower than you can imagine and think of. But progress is consistent. Progress moves you towards the goal. And most of the time, like I said, you don't feel like growing. I didn't feel like I was growing. But I look back now and I realize I have five projects under management right now. 2 are just finishing up construction. Actually, they're not, because plumbing went out on 1. The cast iron, my contractor started working it and realized, oh, there's holes and roots and dirt all up in this. We need to change the whole line to the main. And I have my appraiser coming today to look at it. Well, got to get that postponed and worked on. My other rental that I was getting my appraiser to go look to start the refinance process. Well, I need to change the board around. I think it's fascia or something, because it's worse than I thought. And we cracked it open, and there was a dead squirrel looking dead at us. See what I did there? And so I got those two. I got my fix and flip that I'm doing. $30,000 over budget. $30,000 over budget. And then my other two, I just closed on one today, this morning, or this afternoon at noon. And then I got another one that the city is giving me trouble on. And so it was just fine. By trouble, I mean they've delayed it, which we're working through it, and contractors working on the things, and we're on track. It's not going to be an issue. I already passed the mechanical inspection and all that. But all of those projects have different plans for, different ideas for, and here we are. I look back, if I had gotten into this last year with 5 projects, I'd be overwhelmed. But the slow progress I endured this year of growth really formed me for this moment. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. Doing hard things is not easy. It'll hit you. Stay with me. So we look at Michael Jordan and we think, man, look how easy that shot is. Look at Steph Curry. Have you seen some of the threes he's shot from different angles, and two being guarded by 2 people, half court, outside of the... I mean, the guy's insane. You could tell the guy's shot enough where it looks easy. Doing hard things is not easy. It's hard to push forward in the real estate space. It's hard to be an entrepreneur. It's hard. You got to choose your hard. But also, you got to realize the path of hard makes you better. That's where the progress comes from. And we have to be careful when we're looking at things we want to get into. We're looking at other people do things and build. We got to realize doing hard things is not easy. That doesn't mean it's wrong. And that doesn't mean shy away from it. We just have to have a reality check that says doing hard things is not easy. I'm okay with that type of hard. Have you dated? You realize if you dated more than one person, you realize, if you just interacted with humans of the opposite sex that you could potentially be in a relationship with, you realize that there are some people, relationships are hard. But there are some relationships you say to yourself, yeah, I'd rather not deal with that. So, yeah, I'd rather not deal with someone who has that kind of habit, those idiosyncrasies, and that kind of attitude. And you may look at someone and say, yeah, he got too much ambitions. I don't want to deal with that. I want a low-key guy. I want a low-key. It's all hard. You just got to choose what you want to deal with. You got to realize it's not easy. And when you have that reality, I think that will help you, and it's helped me much, because you get into it and you get what you expect. You know what disappointment is? It's a bridge. It's a gap between what you expect and reality. Man, I really expected this soda to be amazing, but it's flat, so you're disappointed. And the larger that gap is, the harder your fall will be. So if you go into 26 realizing hard is not easy, it will help you with a lot of projects and deals. The third lesson I want to share is that clarity comes from action. It doesn't come from thinking. Hear me out on this. This year, as I went solo and started, I can take you to where I was. I was rebounding and looking at my vision board. And I had on there, okay, start buying deals. And I analyzed and reflected on conversations I had with the one person I worked for and worked with solely, and then the other people I did deals with, and other people who brought deals for me and said they like this kind of deal, because at the end of it, there were no money into the deal out of pocket. And so I was rebounding, and then it hit me. I said, duh, I'm going to buy every single deal that fits this formula. And that formula was 70% times ARV. So after repair value, what I think it's could sell for all fixed up, minus renovations. Because if they're telling me if they buy a deal at 75%, and when they refinance after their repairs, that means they're getting out free, meaning they bought a deal for free theoretically, in the sense that none of their own personal cash is tied up in the project because the bank refinanced them out. So I said to myself, well, I'm the seller. I was wholesaling for some time, and so they would pay me a fee and still be all in 75%. You know what that means? That means I'm getting good deals. I'm negotiating great deals. So as I was rebounding, I said, I'm going to lower the criteria or raise it. I'm going to buy deeper. I'm going to buy at 70% minus repairs times, or the formula I mentioned before. And that means if I go over budget by 5%, I'm still no money out of my pocket. And if I go to 80 for some reason, okay, lesson learned, I'll readjust and buy deeper. Clarity comes from action. If you are waiting for 26 to come around and you're going to learn some more, be in YouTube University, read a couple more books, all things that are okay. And in fact, I'm still enrolled in YouTube University. I'm still reading books. I'm going through it's either 16 or 15 laws, Invaluable Laws for Growth by John Maxwell. I'm still reading. I'm still learning. But if you're saying to yourself, I need to read more, I need to enroll in more classes, I need to enroll in more coaching programs, and this and that and that, and then the pieces will click, they never will. Because there's a difference between theoretical knowledge and knowledge from experience. You could spend a year reading about how to learn and trying to learn how to ride a bike. It's not until you get out of that room, go outside, and get on the pedals that the theory, the cloud of knowledge you acquired starts to connect, and that becomes experience, which produces clarity. In other words, start doing things and the path will be made clear. Well, a great verse for this, tying in some Christianity stuff here, is Psalm 119. The scripture says, your light, or your word, is a light unto my feet, unto my path. What is being communicated there for those who would read the scriptures and those who would follow after Christ is that the word of God, as you are walking on a path, sheds light and says, okay, don't turn to the left, don't go to the right, okay, slow down here, go a little bit quicker. In other words, you don't see the whole path. You got to remember, back in the day, the lights, the lamps were just little itty bitty things that you would get there, and it'd light up your path, and you can only see just as much that is in front of you. And so it wasn't as we have it now where you can see the whole thing. No. It was just what was in front of you. So in the same way, you gotta take action to produce clarity. Be in YouTube University, get the knowledge, get the information. It's totally fine. But don't think to yourself, oh, I gotta start. Don't think to yourself, this is what will move the needle. Action will, and it'll clarify the information you got. Next thing is that relationships matter a ton. I had some rocky moments in marriage and life, and by rocky I meant they were volatile and we were working through things and expectations. Remember, expectations and disappointment and all that. And I realized when I was having conflict with my wife, it affected the business. But when I was having conflicts and turmoil in the business, and I went home, my wife would comfort me and say, oh, you're going to figure it out. And so you got to make sure in the pursuit of building a life worth living, you realize that it's the people around you that make such a difference. It's your spouse, it's your kids, it's your loved ones, your family, extended family. It's the people you do life with that will help so very much. And in the same way, they can also hurt and hinder and slow you down or hurt mindset or whatever it may be. So you want to make sure that as you're building with people you could do life with. And I think this was Naval. He said, play long-term games with long-term people to get long-term rewards. Yes. Lesson 5, discipline beats motivation every time. There were mornings I got up and I did not feel inspired. I did not feel excited. I did not feel ready. I did not feel jovial to go knock on a door. But I did it anyways. And I learned that motivation is a bonus, but discipline is where your foundation is built. The people you look up to, the people you admire, the people you like and aspire to be like, they did not build their life on feelings. You don't build a life worth living brick by brick because you feel like it. What do you mean? I'm not saying you don't want to do it. I'm saying you will not every single day have a feeling that says, I'm happy, I'm on cloud 9, I'm excited to go knock on this door and potentially get a deal and 90% more likely get cursed out or have someone say, don't come here again or I'll shoot you. That's more likely to happen than for you to reach the goal. But it's the times where those things do happen that you keep going it out for. You build a life worth living by doing the work even when the feelings are not there. You say to yourself, I'm going to keep pushing forward even though I don't feel like it, because this is what's required. This is what's needed. This is what I have to do. I got to build something for my family. It doesn't matter if I feel like it or not. I have to do it. The next lesson is time is the real currency. Our culture really shies away from death. Understandably so. It's scary. No one wants to die. And this last quarter, I've thought about death more. It's my first time opening up about it. And it's really caused me... I'd say this. It actually started when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I think he was assassinated at 31. I'm 3 years away from 31. And I said to myself, what if I only have 3 years left? What would I do? And so it's really sparked something in me to make better use of my time, to be intentional, and to be fruitful, and to spend time with family. Because at the end of your life, it won't be money and title and recognition and this and that people are gonna remember you for. Oh, he wrote a book and he made $1 million and no, it's gonna be, he made me feel this way. He was a present dad. He was a present husband. Oh, he was ready to help. He loved Jesus. He pointed everyone to Christ. It's that vacation we went to. That's what's gonna matter. I know people who are older and they're not married and they're trying to spend time with 30, 40 years old people 20, 15 years younger than them because they want to spend life with somebody now with their old age and all the money they got, and they want to leave it on to somebody. It's legacy. Time is real currency. And so how I've implemented this also in business is that I got to make sure my time is being used on the high leverage skills that I have, or the skills that I leverage strongly. So in other words, I want to make sure I'm at an appointment getting the next deal under contract that I will buy rather than supervising a construction project. I can get an assistant to do that. I can get someone else to do that and pay them for that, because if I don't get the next deal, I won't have the next deal to supervise and look at. So even with the business side of things, I've been thinking of ways I can make sure I'm pushing forward on using my time wisely and in a way that will reap more. The other thing I wanted to say, I mentioned it earlier, is that you got to realize that you have to choose your heart. Cody Sanchez would say this a lot, and it's stuck with me. Everything's hard. Building a business is hard. Working for someone else's business is hard. Oh, what do you mean, Ronald? You got security and PTO and benefits, and they got to tell you when you can take time off and when you can't. They determine when you deserve a raise and when you don't. And AI can come, and it is coming, disrupt your job in such a way that your boss one day might say, this new AI just came out, and they're able to do what you do 10 times faster. And in fact, it can do what your 4 other colleagues are doing also for a $500 a month subscription compared to 5 salaries. So you're out. Ooh. I was at a networking event a couple months ago. Guy comes up to me, we're talking, and he says, I just lost my job of 30, 40. He built a career of this. It was a whole thing. Just lost my job. In fact, I think he was from the East Coast. His job 20, 30, 40 years ago moved him to Oklahoma to be supervisor over this region. He said, I lost my job. AI took it. They laid off several other colleagues of mine. And he's at this real estate networking event saying, I need a deal to work. And I mentally noted to myself, that's not gonna be me. I'm as much as I can help it, that is not gonna happen to me. I don't wanna climb the teacher ladder and be a principal and climb the bus driver, because I was a bus driver ladder, and be a supervisor, and then AI comes and disrupts in such a way I lose my job. Or my employer gets, I think actually that's what it was. AI hurt his job, but also his company got bought out by an private equity or something, and they didn't need him. No, mentally noted. Choose your heart. Choose your heart. The other thing is that small, consistent wins stack up. So, you know my saying, I've said to myself this year and last, consistently do the small and good things and watch the results compound. It's a layered statement. Consistently do. So it's emphasizing to me action, but not just sporadic action here and there, and one day you get up and go to the gym and 2 months later you don't even drive by it and now you're there again. One could argue, oh, I'm doing it just 2 months apart. No, you got to take the action, you got to do it, but you got to do it consistently, back to back, a steady drip, 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 drip. Consistently do the small. I think human nature gravitates towards a large, chaotic, rambunctious, like, man, that's great, that's big, it's huge. Like, no, progress moves quietly, remember? I'm going to do the small good. I'm going to do the small things. I'm going to get up, I'm going to call 2 leads. I'm going to get up, I'm going to knock 3 doors. I'm going to get up, and I'm just going to keep doing the thing. Consistently do the small and good. A lot of people don't realize habits compound, and they compound against you or they compound for you. C.S. Lewis wrote beautifully on that concept. And so you got to be making sure you're doing small things. Don't overlook the big things. If a big thing comes, you can do it. But don't be looking to do only big things. Be faithful in the small, but also the good things. Because you can smoke a small cigarette, right? And that compounds and it hurts your health, and later on you got cancer. So you got to be doing the good things, the things that actually move the needle towards a goal, towards a life worth living. But then you got to watch the results compound. Because you can't always be doing. You got to be receiving too. You got to be reaping what you have done. So consistently do the small and good things and watch your results compound. It starts with the C, it ends with the C, the sentence. Consistently and compound. The best way I can explain this year, the whole year, I wanted to get a rental. One fell through in February, didn't happen because plumbing went out. That would have been my first rental. And God worked out the details. And my actual first rental was across the street. So the duplex, a really good deal, I would have closed on. That would have been amazing. And one side would have covered my whole mortgage because I was taking it sub 2. That blew up. Plumbing busted. Across the street, I bought the lady's house. Single house, which is totally fine. But that's also a really good deal. And so I kept wholesaling, working with people, going solo, and long, slow time of a FEMA hold, President Trump signed, and so foreclosure leads were slow. I mean, I was in the thickets, guys. I'm not sure this publicly. There's one time I literally took my daughter, Ava, and I went to a high school, beginning of the school year in August, looking to apply to be a PE teacher. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. I didn't know. And that's the hard. Those are moments you're up at night holding your head saying, I don't know how I'm paying my bills for September. I don't know how I'm paying my bills the last week of August. And even if I get a job today, the payroll, if they have a certain payroll, I won't be getting paid until September. And with the school system, you get paid twice a month. I might miss this and get paid the end of September. That's the hard. But I stay consistent. My mindset was grounded in the reality that with 40 hours worth of work, I can make a whole year's salary than if I just was teaching at school. God worked out the details. They didn't call me. So that really worked out. But I pushed forward on the real estate side. And the best way I can explain it is that with the consistency I've taken, the power of compounding finally took place, and all at once, closed on 3 deals, like within a week's span. 3 deals, and before I didn't have any. The last deal I had, so I closed on those 3 deals October, November. The last deal I had was in July, I think. So July, August, September, yeah. Last deal, and it was towards the end of October that I closed on those deals too. So just about 4 months without a paycheck, with no sign of it getting better because it was slowing down. And all of a sudden, consistency and compound interest met up, and the only reason I'm not overwhelmed now with 5 projects I'm managing is because, and by the way, I'm closing on another one next week that's going to be a fix and flip. So I have 6. And I'm waiting for, anyways, I'm not going to go through all the deals I'm working. The only reason I'm not overwhelmed is because I've been in the grind. The action has given me clarity. I chose my heart, and I have had a reality check on what that heart is. I've had projects go $30K over budget, and I'm okay because I bought deep enough. Remember my formula? Stuck to my number, bought deep enough. Okay, all right, yeah, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. This is going to be okay. It's going to be good. And I built systems. James Clear says, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to the level of your system, to the level of your preparation. I was networking with a guy, big buyer here, and he said to me, man, I've been seeing your stories and posts, and like you just came out of nowhere. It took me 24 months to come out of nowhere. It takes much longer than you think. It happens slowly, but then all at once. And I'm still building. I'm in the year of 4 rentals. Super thankful. Got 1 fix and flip already sold before renovations were even done. God story right there. I have another fix and flip I'm working on. And it happens slowly and then all at once. And I'm building momentum, working on going forward. And so the other thing I realized, and this is the last lesson I learned this year, is that you got to build your life on Christ, the solid rock, Jesus Christ. All of this is worthless. All of this is worthless. All of it is, unless you're building on Christ as a solid foundation. So many people build their lives on shifting sand. They build their lives on money, on fame, on women, on men, on this and that, and then it crumbles under them. They realize the life they have cannot be supported and held by what they've built it on, and it is towards the end that it crumbles and they realize, And so build your life on Christ, the solid rock. He makes all the difference. He helps. And he's actually the one who determines what a worthy life is. And as I come to an end here, I want to say, you don't need to rush in 26. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You don't need to do this next new thing. What you need to do is take action, build, be consistent, do the small things, do the good things, be faithful, be intentional, all little things. And you realize at the end of it, I text my wife after this closing I had here at 12. I said, babe, this time last year we had zero rentals, zero rentals, zero flips, zero assets, zero. And we're ending the year off with 4. Guys, you don't need to rush. You just need to be faithful. You just need to go steady. But you need to have a vision that's large enough that compels you to keep pushing forward. And so, question I have for you is, what will you be building in 26? What lessons can you take with you now?